Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host, Red. I got a video today from Melanie King. One you guys suggested, obviously.
We're following some developing news this midday. Today, Elizabeth Coast admitted she put an innocent man behind bars.
I'm Andy Fox, Miss Coast, and I want to know why you lied. I want to know why you lied and put a man in a prison for 4 years and committed perjury. I want to know why you lied and put Mr. Montgomery in prison. Do you have anything?
You know, remember when Cat Williams is like, who knows why they lie? They're just liars. They just like to lie. This is that case right here. Because I don't think she got any benefit out of it. She just did it just to harm somebody.
Thing to say to him.
This man has spent 4 years in state prison because a woman deliberately and maliciously lied about him.
Poor
4
kid.
years of his life stolen, his reputation shattered, his opportunities were derailed.
Well, I mean, considering he looks quite young, so yeah, for the first adult years of his life, he's in jail. It's hard to think anything better after that or to try to come out of that.
His freedom taken, all because of her false accusations. And what does the judge hand her? Not even a year, not 6 months, just a weekend jail for 2 months.
Weekend jail for 2 months so she gets to live her life normally, then goes to jail just to report in the jail and stay in jail for the weekend? Really?
As if she committed a minor traffic offense. It's an insult to justice. If the roles were reversed, we all know the outcome would have been far more severe. This wasn't a mistake. It was a calculated lie that destroyed a man's life, and she gets a slap on the wrist? Where's the accountability? Where's the fairness?
This is why women are so emboldened to do what they do and to keep doing what they do, because of these slaps on the wrist. Like the law or justice or whatever always says, you know, if we were to punish these people, we're scared that true victims are not going to come out. But you guys doing this are creating real victims now. Like this gentleman here.
Now imagine this. You're sentenced to 45 years in prison for a crime you didn't commit. Sounds like a nightmare, right? Well, that's exactly what happened to
Oh, he was sentenced to 45 years? Oh, my.
Jonathan Montgomery, a man whose life was ripped apart by a lie. The story begins back in 2007. Elizabeth Colt's mother caught her looking at sexually explicit material online.
Okay.
Disturbed and pressing for answers, she demanded to know why her daughter was viewing such content.
Don't tell me. Because she got caught watching corn, she made up a whole lie so she wouldn't feel ashamed because she wanted to watch corn? Don't tell me. Don't tell me that's the story.
In an attempt to explain herself, or perhaps to shift blame, Elizabeth told her mother that Jonathan Montgomery had introduced her to it. Then came the devastating claim that when she was 10 years old, Montgomery had sexually assaulted her in her grandmother's backyard. No physical evidence, no witness, just one accusation. Still, the police managed to track down Montgomery, who had since moved to Iowa. Elizabeth identified him, and despite the fact that her story had glaring inconsistencies, Montgomery was arrested and charged. Now, here's the kicker. The district attorney's office proceeded with the case, fully aware of the...
And this is why I can't trust DAs with 99, 98 conviction rates. Obviously, you fudge some things to get that high of a conviction rate. There's just no way every single person that came onto your docket was guilty.
lack of concrete evidence. No DNA, no corroborating testimony, no timeline that actually made sense. Just the unverified word of someone trying to cover up her own actions. And yet, they push forward.
Over watching corn. Wow.
And secured a conviction. Think about that. A man's entire life stolen based on a single accusation.
I'm still tripping out over the corn thing, guys, because she didn't want to get in trouble because she started watching corn.
Never questioned deeply
Oh
enough,
my gosh.
never scrutinized hard enough. This isn't just a miscarriage of justice. It's a willful failure of the very system that claims to protect the innocent.
Hampton prosecutors say Elizabeth Coast's story was specific, credible, and most importantly, consistent through hours of relentless questioning.
It's really hard to keep up with the same lie. It takes a special type of person to be able to really pull off something of this magnitude. There was a cousin who came forth and remembered back then the relationship between the
Wow. This diabolical family.
alleged victim and the alleged suspect in the case, Mr. Montgomery.
Bell says Coast's cousin and her mother told police Montgomery was infatuated with her. They said Coast began to look at pornography after she was sexually abused. Prosecutors noted the behavioral changes as evidence the rape really happened.
Let me be absolutely clear. He was 100% innocent. And what was the evidence against him? None. Not a shred of physical proof. This entire case boiled down to nothing more than a he said, she said scenario.
Well, there was quite a bit of she's that said that's why.
And yet, based solely on her word, a judge saw fit to sentence an innocent man, Montgomery, to 45 years in prison. That's right. 45 years in prison.
How did this man get out? They really...
Based on nothing but an uncorroborated accusation. Now, fast forward 4 years, Elizabeth Coast, the very woman...
I can't even tell you guys to protect yourselves on this particular case because he was just doing a normal thing, like tutoring. He didn't, do anything. Let's just... Protect yourselves, man. I can't even tell you how to protect yourselves against this because I don't even know how to protect ourselves against this. It's just you living your life and then women destroying it because they want to.
And who made the allegation is now working as a civilian employee at the police department. While involved with a police detective, she let slip that she had lied. She openly admitted that she had destroyed a man's life.
Wow.
A few days later, she went even further and recorded a full video confession. In it, she explained how she had falsely accused Montgomery because she had been caught by her mother reading sexual stories online.
Oh, it was just reading. It wasn't even actual corn. Oh my God. So she was reading 50 Shades of Grey stuff. Okay.
Rather than face the consequences of her own actions, she fabricated an accusation so devastating it stole a man's freedom.
It didn't just steal his freedom, it destroyed his family's reputation. It destroyed so much more than that.
Think about that. A man's life was shattered, locked in a cell, branded a criminal, and robbed of his future because of a lie. And you know what they do to people who have violated children in prison.
Correct. You are correct. I didn't even think about that. Oh my gosh. I didn't even think about it at this particular case. I usually do think about it because I've been myself. So yeah, he got put in the Chomo cell. And that is not a good cell to be in because you are known to be a chomo if you're in that cell. So you're going to get punished for being a chomo.
I cannot imagine the things that actually happened.
Oh my. I got goosebumps and chills right now because I know exactly what happens to those men in those chambers, in those cells. For this man to have gone through that, for being innocent is
into him. And our justice system, they enabled it. No physical evidence, no witness, no corroboration, just blind faith in one person's unverified claims. How does that happen in a system that claims to value truth and justice?
Ms. Coates, this is the man that you've sent to prison for 4 years on a lie, that you committed perjury and have now admitted to it. And I want to know why you lied.
See, like, also, committing perjury. Isn't there like a minimum sentence for just committing perjury? Why is she not even getting that?
We interviewed Jonathan Montgomery, who's still in prison. Asked him, is he angry?
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed that she didn't come out with this sooner.
I don't have any comments.
Yeah, I mean, 4 years of her life gone.
Please.
At least say that you're sorry. At least say that you're sorry.
For Montgomery, it's a simple question.
And this is why we should be completely heartless and cold to women. Because they are completely heartless and cold to us. Especially in these moments. This is why when we see tears on camera and anything, we just ignore it. We laugh. We make fun. We poke.
Question of why?
Biggest three-letter word in the dictionary is why. Why do it at all? Why cover something up for something so small? It really bothers me to not
Why is this man still in jail and talking out from jail? He should be out by now. What the fuck?
know the why.
Coast never answered why, just a smile.
Why are you smiling?
Is this
Because he almost ran into a tree.
Is that funny?
A judge vacated Montgomery's sentence and ordered him freed when it was learned that Coast, who worked with the Hampton Police Department, confessed to a detective that she lied about a sexual assault, lied at the trial.
DA should be getting fucking in trouble. Freaking everybody involved should be getting in trouble. The judge should be getting some kind of reprimand. Like, something should be happening within the system to correct this.
Sent an innocent man to jail.
That's what you told the detective. That's what you told her. You've admitted to this. And all I
Shout outs to that reporter in the blue jacket. Yeah, get her some freaking, put it in her face.
want to know is, all Mr. Montgomery wants to know is, why? Why did you do this?
And sadly, when Coast was given repeated opportunities to simply apologize, it was clear there was no apology coming.
For the sense of decency, at least stop and say that you're sorry.
Like, I wouldn't even be upset if this man went to her house and just shat it all over the place. And just, like, run in butt naked into her price and just shat it everywhere. I wouldn't even be upset at this guy. I'd actually praise him.
Please just get out of my way.
As you just heard in that segment, Elizabeth Montgomery admitted she had lied, and yet Montgomery remained behind bars.
Yes.
Let that sink in. Despite her confession, he was still locked up. Eventually, the governor issued a conditional pardon. Not even
So the system can even let the man free, that there had to be an outside freaking force to pardon him? Oosha.
even a full exoneration, just a conditionally tethered lifeline. It wasn't until later that the courts finally declared him innocent. In other words, the justice system eventually acknowledged that the crime never even happened. The state awarded him only $175,000 in compensation.
175. You owe me millions. 4 years of my life for all of your prosecutors and all this stuff, ruining my reputation, screwing my family, screwing me over, screwing my future over. No, you owe me millions.
For the years stolen from his life. Frankly, that is a pitiful sum when you consider the trauma.
It's a lot of money. I'm not saying it's not. But for what this man went through, no, it's not enough.
The lost time and the irreparable damage done to him.
This man could have been a freaking Einstein. He could have went to school. He could have fucking produced a new rocket or something. But no, now because of you ruined it. Give the man millions.
And Elizabeth Montgomery, she pled guilty to perjury after ruining a man's life and was sentenced. But where's the accountability? A false accusation destroyed a life.
There should be false police reports, false evidence tampering or whatever, because obviously the other cousin lied or whatever. There should be so much more than this.
And the system was slow, almost reluctant to correct itself.
Of course it is, because the DA now is going to have a stupid little thing on him saying that, oh, I did the wrong thing, and DAs never want to do this. I watch a lot of shows And one of my favorite ones is Suits, right? And as much as Suits is a show, I believe how the judges, lawyers, and everybody interact with each other by doing each other favors and all these things, and how prosecutors never want to look bad ever, so they'll fudge things to make sure they don't look bad. Yeah, this is playing out like exactly like how Suits would play out.
This case isn't just about perjury. It's about how easily the truth can be buried and how costly that burying becomes when the justice system turns a blind eye.
And all this money that the courts and everything that went through all of this, that taxpayers paid for, was for nothing.
I am very sorry for the mistake that I've made and the lie that I told. And this is me taking responsibility for that.
It's not.
In court, Coast said she lied about the sexual assault that sent Jonathan Montgomery away for 4.5 years. Coast said she didn't want to disappoint her mother, who was portrayed in court as a heavy-handed disciplinarian. Coast's mother caught her reading adult material, and that's when the lies began. Coast blamed Montgomery because her mother kept pushing the issue, and Montgomery had moved away, and Coast never thought that he would be found. But he was. Coast attorney Ron Smith said she should be given credit for coming forward, even...
What? I'm gonna have to smack a mother chucker.
Though it took her almost 5 years. Judge Bonnie Jones agreed, giving Coast a 2-month sentence, which...
You agree, Judge? You agree? Some sexist bullshit.
he can serve on weekends beginning this weekend.
I wanted to convey to the judge that if there's somebody else out there that did this, do you want to give a big sentence to somebody and send the wrong message? Don't come forward, we're going to lock you up.
And in the end, the judge believed that line of thought.
Like, is that the thought process? Is so you want more people to come forward about their lies, so you're gonna give them light sentences? How does that make sense? Like how does that make sense? How?
Thought from attorney Ron Smith.
It's plain as day. This case exposed major cracks in our so-called justice system. Montgomery was convicted without a shred of physical evidence. This was textbook he said, she said, and somehow that alone was enough to send an innocent man to prison for 4 years. But here's what I really want to ask you. What do you make of her sentence? She didn't even get a full 2 months behind bars, just checking in on weekends in jail. Like, weekends? Is that really justice? Is that even close to being an acceptable?
I didn't even know this was a thing until I was actually in jail myself. And then there was a guy that came into the cell. He was only there for the weekend. And he just slept the whole weekend. He said he took major drugs just to sleep the 2 days while he was there, so he doesn't have to wake up. And then he gets up and he goes back to work. And he has to do that for like another few years or something.
Punishment for someone who fabricated an entire story and destroyed a man's life. And don't forget, she didn't even confess out of remorse. She told a co-worker, and that person was the one who finally told the truth. Meanwhile, Montgomery sat in a cell labeled and forgotten. And if we're being honest, the sentence she received is an absolute slap in the face to every person who actually cares about truth and fairness.
True.
She should have gotten at least 4 years bare minimum, equal time for what he served. She intentionally lied. She knowingly caused harm. That kind of damage deserves real consequences. And this excuse from the judge,
you should have some kind of moral guidance throughout the whole process. At least some internal battle within you that's like, maybe I should stop this because this guy is going to jail for the rest of his life for my lies. And 45 years is pretty much the rest of that man's life. He's going to come out at what, 50, 60? What is he going to do?
that punishing her might discourage real victims from coming forward.
Right?
That's backwards logic. Holding liars accountable doesn't silence victims. It deters false accusers. There's a difference, and it matters. If anything, Punishing her would protect the credibility of real victims by
Yep.
making it clear that the system takes truth seriously. Don't let this kind of thing slide. And we've seen cases of this in modern times with Amber Heard and now the Blake Lively case. A woman could just make an accusation of sexual harassment or sexual assault or any type of assault or abuse, and the woman will automatically be believed, and the man can have his entire life ruined, even if there's no credible evidence. Even if it's proven that she's lying, that man can still lose everything in his life, his family, his job, his livelihood, his reputation. And because a lot of these lies come out and people just go with it. And then when the correction comes and when they're exonerated, well, then you hear nothing about it. And this is one reason that the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard case was so important.
Yeah.
It was finally a man with the means and the popularity.
And you hear it, the means. It was not cheap for Johnny to do what he did. And Johnny did it for us men, right? He did it for justice. But that was a lot of money. And he probably didn't even get a penny back, tell you the truth, because she's broke. What money is she going to pay him?
To actually fight back because he was the victim in that situation. And I believe, and most people believe, the same thing has happened to Justin Baldoni, and that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have done the exact type of thing to try to ruin a man's life.
Yep.
And this is why so many people are invested in it. This is why I'm invested in it.
I actually don't think I've gotten so heated in a video before because this video was just so nonsensical. As in, what happened in the video was nonsensical. The video itself was great. Shout out to Melody. But I can't imagine losing 4 years, half a years of my life because of lies like that. Her getting what? 2 months of weekend jail? What the fuck? Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that. And I think